Welcome to this slightly censored monologue by David Ewing Jr., as my audio was turned off during the recording and YouTube took issue with certain statements. To see the complete uncensored version, kindly click the link below for Odyssey. Enjoy.
That's what the language is about. So the master language was Arabic, and in a future book, I'm going to draw diagrams. Yes, I'm going to draw diagrams how they created Sanskrit and Cyrillic or Kyrillic from Greek, and they created it from Arabic. It's because they tried to say Latin came from Greek. When you look at the letters A, B, C, D, E, F, G, they're exactly the same as Arabic, but just a different handwriting. My little brothers and sisters have got different handwritings. Everybody does. So when you do, it's just changing the font, the design. That's what they've done. Even Sanskrit, I'm not joking. If you have a look at the letters, you'll think they have these lines on it. Without the lines, you'll think, damn, this is Arabic. Then when you look at Latin, without the capitals and without the extras, then you think, hey, Latin is Arabic. They just modified it on purpose. Then when you look at modern Hebrew, you'll think, hey, this is Arabic, but they've just changed the design. Yeah. And the main thing is, yeah, you can have, it's not just here. It's like when the British, the French, the Americans, the Jesuits, everybody went to China. They said, these people are Tatars and they're speaking Tatarian. The Russians, when they invaded northern China, they turned around and said, hey, these Tatars are there. The Russians know who Tatars are. Same like the Germans know who the Polish are. They're not going to make a mistake. The Russians wrote in every record, we are fighting the Tatarians in China. The more they went east. Yes, when it was called Russification. Yes, so they were fighting Tatars, you know. Yeah, and then you live in Germany, the Holy Roman Emperors. Anatoly Fomenko has shown that they've falsified the history of the Holy Roman Emperors. Yes, and they say that the Holy Roman Empire was based on the pagan Roman Empire. Yes, and then the kings were elected and then crowned in the name of God. Now the old German word for holy is Hallas. Allah. That's the word for holy. Yes, because I'm going to put it in a future book. And all the kings of the Holy Roman Emperor were elected according to what it says in the Quran, that you must elect these leaders. That's one. We're talking about elections in the Middle Ages for the Holy Roman Emperor. And another thing is, when they got crowned and they're wearing the clothes, all their clothes have got Arabic writing on them. And then they were crowned by bishops from throughout the Holy Roman Empire, and all the paintings show, all the paintings from before the Renaissance have got these Islamic carpets and they've got Arabic writing on them. Yeah. Nobody's going to answer that. Oh, yes, the army of Venice, yeah, Venetians, you know, Anatoly Fomenko has proved it, and I've put it in my books. I checked it myself, are the Phoenicians. And they say that Greek came from the Phoenician alphabet. Now, the Phoenician cities, the big ones, were Tyre and Sidon. But anybody who goes to those cities or looks at photographs in the 1880s, there's nobody living in those places, just small villages. So we know that there's nobody there. And there's another thing, you can't take big ships into the city of Sidon. You can't take ships in there because the water is too shallow. So it couldn't have been, the Phoenicians weren't from there. It was just a fabricated story. Now, the thing is, the Venetians, if you have a look at their army soldiers, most of them came from Germany, Austria, that region. Yes, and they had their swords in the Venetian army. Anatoly Fomenko, yes, explains these swords and says, hey, have a look yourself. All these swords have got engravings on in Arabic. Yes. Yes. Oh, where are they? In the back of museums that nobody is allowed to see. And then when you go to the museums, they'll say, oh, probably a Muslim person engraved it on these swords afterwards. Excuse me, same like saying that the Americans, yeah, hand over their guns to the Iraqis, and then the Iraqis write Arabic names on them and then pass the guns back to them. Sure. It's just pathetic. Yeah. So this language was the language of Europe. They replaced it. Yeah, it was actually the global language. All the books were in Arabic. Now in Austria, there's a lot of Turks. Yeah, I've noticed. Now everybody knows that when the Turks go to school, within 2-3 generations, we're talking 20, 30 years, they speak fluent German, and they can't even speak their Turkish properly. Yes. Yeah. So now the thing is, in Europe, everybody's learning in Arabic. All the books are in Arabic. And they're trying to tell us, oh no, these people didn't speak Arabic throughout the whole of Europe. And it was the international language. English is not that international yet. Arabic we're talking was a lot greater than that. So now it's all suspicious. It doesn't make sense. Yeah. But the history is actually clear. The world order, everybody knows they hate one group of people in the world. They don't really care about the Chinese. They don't care about Russian enemy. They're friends in the breakup. But one group of people that are being demonized day and night is these Muslims. And they're being demonized for their mosques, superstitions, whatever. Now, let me tell you what they do in a mosque. I've been inside. Yeah. What they're doing is reading the Quran. What does the Quran actually say? The Quran actually says, saying, hey, go and have a look. They changed these languages. They changed the books. They changed the history books. Go and look through the cities. These cities are buried and destroyed. Go and check the history. These people are lying. These people who are running the system over there, they've already destroyed all these other people. You be careful because you're next. That's why the Quran is a threat. Yes, it is. That's why Donald Trump said Islam hates us. He doesn't hate the people, but the Quran is speaking against these people. It is. So if you demonize Islam and if you mess it up, because they've already messed up the history in Islam, because they went with their empires, they set up the same universities, institutions, and they've given them the same fake history. Yes, the same fake history where it says Muhammad married a young girl. Yeah, Anatoly Fomenko has shown that the Jesuits created that history. Yes, yeah, there's no evidence of that whatsoever. Yes, it's like, can you imagine right now, what do you call it? Let's say the president, Angela Merkel, marrying a young boy. Yeah, if she did that, people would be beating her up on the streets. Yeah, marrying a 13-year-old boy or 10-year-old boy. So it's just a lie. It's ridiculous. Yeah, they're trying to show, oh, these Muslims, they're all stupid. Entire nations are brainwashed and they're just so stupid right now. But the Muslims are the last people. Now, maybe somebody will say, why couldn't they remove Arabic and the Quran from that region? It's because they were the desert lands and they're targeting them now. It's because they had plans one at a time. The desert lands were harder. The mountainous regions in the Balkans, were harder. In Turkey, it's a mountainous region. It was difficult. In Iran, in Afghanistan, in northwestern territories of Pakistan, these areas were difficult. That's why this Arabic thing with the Quran survived and that document survived. That's probably the only unmodified document from the Middle Ages, because the people thought, damn, they're changing all the books. So these Muslims started memorizing it. And then, as you notice, the word Deutsch is similar. That's why 10% of Turkish people are mysteriously Northern European from Northwestern Europe. It's almost like they were running away from something. And then another strange thing is that nobody ever talks about is Chechnya and why Fomenko wrote his books. In the 1980s and 90s, yes, what happened throughout Russia? Many Russian Muslims started speaking up. The communists were changing the history, blah, blah, blah. It's part of the world order game. Yes, communism was part of it. Destroy monuments, destroy everything. And then when communism goes, when it did, they just pretended and said, oh, there used to be a church here. But nobody knows if it was a church originally or not. Yeah. So now the thing is, if you go to the Caucasus Mountains in Russia, I've been to that region, you're going to see Northern Europeans and you're going to think, hey, what are they doing here? And you'll see Armenian and Turkish and Georgian type of people who've got darker hair. And then you'll see all these Northern Europeans. You can tell the difference because of the blue eyes and the blonde hair and the red hair and the pinker skin. Yeah. And then some of them preserve the history. And they said that when the Great Northern War started and Russification started in Scandinavia, they were retreating. And then they ended up in that region. and that's why the Quran survived there. And then what happened after that is that, what do you call it? The Jesuits and their boys, they created modern Islam with the fake books, the fake, there's the fake history that's in there, and etc. and everything else. Or Fomenko confirms that in the Quran it says that the Old Testament, the New Testament was here before the Old Testament. Fomenko has shown that Christ lived about 1,000 years ago, that the timelines have been forged. Now, that timeline that Fomenko has said, he was one man. Now, if he didn't speak up, millions of people will not know it today in Europe and America. But what people don't know is that that timeline and that story is already in the Quran. That's why the Quran is a threat, because anybody who is going to read that book is going to think, damn, when Moses was here, he already said that the book of Christ, in English we call it evangel, but in Greek it's just called euangel or angel. Yes, this angel book was already here. And it says this in the Quran. So now Anatoly Fomenko pulled out documentary evidence and said, have a look. These people are all already mentioning that this book is already here. So Christ must have been here around the time of Moses or before. Now, the Quran said that before Fomenko. He's been saying it for generations and centuries. That's why it was a threat. So even if they destroy Fomenko's books and all these people who are studying Tartaria now, the generation dies within 20, 30 years, the Quran is still going to be here. That's why they are going to continue this fight against that book, because that book is going to speak. Now, where did Fomenko get his information from? You can practically say 1/4 up to a half of Russia, if you include the ex-Soviet Union, is people who follow the Quran, Muslims. So obviously it's going to be out there, because these Muslims, they're not Middle Eastern Muslims, they're Russian Muslims. Yes. Of course, people call them Tatars, but they're the same thing, because when you have a look at them, it's like turning around and saying, what is the difference between people in Dusseldorf or Frankfurt? Are they a different race? They're not. They look the same. Yeah. So they're the same people. Yes. And then the thing is, they're speaking out. And after communism fell, a war started along the borders of ex-communist states: Bosnia, Chechnya, Dagestan. Uzbekistan, there was a big movement there. Tajikistan had civil war. Afghanistan, on the borders between China and Russia, the Muslims were screaming, and they were saying, hey, you're lying. You're lying about the history. The communists have gone. We are not going to have another government come in here now. Yeah, when Yeltsin took over, saying we're going to continue this history and everything. So Putin and the rest of them financed Fomenko and his group. More than 1,000 researchers were involved. Fomenko is not just one person. Thousands of people were involved. And do you know what? Maybe it was political, but they were forced to come out with the truth, because the Muslims are going to speak, and then Russia would have broken up. So to save Russia, yes, they did that for now, but we don't know what's going to happen next. Yes. So the thing is, they did that, but what Fomenko didn't go far enough was, Fomenko, did make it clear, yes, Arabic was the global language, but Fomenko didn't go far enough to mention a big thing like, hey, I've proved the timeline, but this timeline was already mentioned in the Quran. Now, it seems like I'm defending the Quran, but the thing is, the Quran is at war with the world order. Is it from God? I don't know. Now, the thing is, Islam is a belief. If you want to believe it's from God, that's your choice. But if you're going to ask me, do I have that proof? I don't know. But all I know is that that book mentioned it before Fomenko. I'm going to write this in a new book, because it's amazing. Fomenko is one man, and it took so many researchers, and they had to have all these wars: Bosnia, Chechnya, war in Macedonia with the Muslims. It was with the Muslims. The Muslims were coming down from the mountains, because they were in the mountains, actually, if you go and check. And then the Americans intervened, because they thought, we want the Muslims to come down from the mountains. So they helped them to get independence in Bosnia and Kosovo. It wasn't because they cared. There's more to it than that. It's because they know that you cannot bring these people into the global world system until they come down from the mountains. Yes, until they get into the education system of learning what they're teaching. So in Kosovo, all these peoples were were in the mountains. Now they've all come down. And now they've come, their grandparents were teaching them, saying, hey, don't believe these people who are out there in Europe. They're liars. Now, the people who've come down, we're talking 30 years after the war, many of these people are questioning, saying, hey, Europe has got the evidence. Europe has proved it, that this is a lie. Europe has proved it, that Islam is like this. They forced and converted everybody, when it's the other way around. It's the other way around. It was the church that had inquisitions. It was the church that burnt and destroyed everything. Yes? So it's hard to believe, because I even know what's going on in Austria. It is going to be so hard to believe if you tell the Austrians, hey, do you know what Old German is? Yeah? Do you know that more than half the words are the same as Arabic? Do you even know that the books were written in that language? If you tell them, they're going to think, no. And then they'll say, do you know they killed your great-grandparents? They were murdering them. They were burning them. They went from door to door. It was called an Inquisition, the armies of the Vatican. People are not going to believe it. And then they'll say, no, we've always been Christian. Maybe we don't practice it now. We don't care. But this is our heritage. That's what they're going to think. They're going to say, what about all these manuscripts? They've been here for centuries. Since when? It's ridiculous. It's actually unfortunate. And the thing is, the world order is going to win. They are going to win. It's like this right now. You can see in Austria, there's a big division between the intellectuals, which they know that they are going to do. But these people who are trying to resist all these things have got no chance. Do you want to know why? Because half the people who are anti-vaccine are actually pro-history. If they knew everything, then they will think, damn, this is a total war against the people. That's why I made my book simple. If you read my books, you'll have a look at them and think, they are so simple. Yeah, no, of course, I'll give you the books. You can put them anywhere. People can download the PDFs free. Now, the thing is, there is no way that they are going to take on the world order. No chance. Yes? Now, the thing is, the Quran tells you something. It says about the world order. It tells you that if you stand strong, the world order is weak. Yes, as long as you know what you're up against. Now, the Quran tells you what you're up against. Yes? Now, the Quran actually, believe it or not, nobody ever tells you to do this. There is nothing anywhere in the world that's telling you to do this. The Quran says, walk around the cities. You're going to find this history and that, like buried buildings, mud-filled buildings. Walk around. It says, go and check these books. This is a lie. That is a lie. This happened. This is how they constructed these buildings. Go and have a look in the oceans. People did mining there long ago, like the Black Sea. Yes, the topography, if you have a look, actually is a big mine. The Black Sea, humans mined that place. Now, the thing is, the Quran tells you this. Yeah. Now, there is no other document that's actually telling you this. And then there is another thing. Now, most of the people in China, about 100 years ago, you can have a look at all the photographs. China, India, many other places, even in Europe too, many people were naked. Now, that story is not explained anywhere. Now, the thing is, everybody knows something that happened. Something happened in the world in the last 200 years. Many cities got wiped out in the United States. The photographs are suspicious, but people are looking at the United States. Now, my new book, I've just written about China. The same thing happened in China. Somebody wiped out the people, and then they brought the Chinese people north. It was organized and planned. So now the thing is, many of these people who were brought were naked or half naked. Now, the thing is, in the Quran, it tells you about the nakedness. It says that humans are special. God created them with protective clothing. And then there was artificial intelligence, the leader of artificial intelligence, who's called Satan. Yeah. Now, the thing is, that is used in mobile technology. In the Quran, it tells you that humans are above artificial intelligence, that we should control it. And it also says that angels are below you. That's a big thing. Now, the thing is, in the old world order, when people went to school, they studied mathematics and algebra. Yes, algebra is two Arabic words, al and jibra. Now, jibra and el in modern English is Jibrail or Gabriel. That's what algebra is. That's why people call it angel numbers. Yes, and that's why people say we've seen these numerical patterns in certain events that are happening throughout the world. Now, the thing is, in the old world order, they had a system called the Kabbalah. Yes. Now, obviously, everyone's going to say that's Hebrew. And anybody who's got a brain is going to wake up and click on and think, hey, there's two words there. Kaaba, which means cube, which is a square. Yes. And the word Allah. Yes. And the word Allah is just simple. It's obvious what it is. Yes. So, yeah. So Kabbalah is to do with mathematics and education. Now, when you look at the Kaaba, it's a square and a cube with a black cloth around it. Same like graduation clothes. Yes. In university, a square hat with black clothes. Same like that building in Mecca. Yes. Yeah, I don't know if you know what Mecca looks like. That square building that Muslims go to pray. Now, the thing is, what people don't understand, Muslims, the moment they've got educated and they understand God and understand the Quran, it's called graduation. They go to Mecca. That's what they do. Now, in university today, people do the graduation and they keep the graduation ceremony of the cube hat with the black clothes. Where did that come from? It came from the Quran. There you go. It came from Islam. That's what it was all about. And algebra was the mathematics, angel maths. Now, what they've done is they've removed the angel from the maths. Algebra actually meant angel mathematics. They removed it from mathematics. That's why maths is boring. People don't want to study it. Half of the people in Europe and America, more than half probably, are not even educated. They're not intellectuals. They won't even understand what we're talking about. It's because they've destroyed the people. Oh, go and check the Catholic Church records. After the Renaissance, you're going to think this is the most stupidest thing ever. For example, you're in Vienna. They built the train line from Vienna to Amsterdam in the 18-something, I forgot. Now, when World War I started, yeah, they built a train line just before then, yes, from there to Amsterdam or Rotterdam. I've forgotten which one. Yeah. Now, when World War I started in the Balkans and Eastern Europe, yes, the armies of the so-called Austro-Hungarian Empire, which didn't exist, it was the global order. Yeah, they sent their armies into villages, kidnapping children. And you can find photographic evidence of this. They got hold of the children, then they took them, they weighed them, they changed their clothes. Yes, they changed their clothes. These children still had the clothes from the previous civilization known as Tartaria. If you look at the photographs, you'll turn around and think, damn, they look like Turks, the way they're dressed. I'm being serious to you. All the women have got their head scarves, everything. They took the children away. That's what they did. Then they put them on trains, Rotterdam, and they shipped them off to anywhere, everywhere. Distributed them. So that's what they did. They took the children away, and then they took them to churches, and they took them to, for example, people can confirm this in Amsterdam. In Amsterdam, they've got these terraced houses like they do in England. And what they had was many of these houses were full of children. So now these children are aged 10, 11, 12. They start growing older, 13, 14, 15, 16. Now, there's no parents there. There's nothing there. They just go to church, orphanages, learning the new languages, and they have to work in factories. They've got no one watching them. They're just sleeping around. Then, not only are they doing that, but what are these colonial governments doing to the children? On Sundays, they've got to go to church, and they're all given wine free, drunk. Can you imagine one glass of wine for these 13, 14, 15, 16-year-olds? That's where the drinking culture came from. I'm being serious. You go and check these records out. You're going to think, what the hell have they done? It's ridiculous. So they made everybody into that. And then there was, all these children that, girls who were pregnant, age 15, can't look after them. Then they took those children into orphanages too. So the system continued, and then the state took over. They gave them all new languages. They all went to schools. Nobody knows anything, like the people growing up in Austria. They don't know anything because they can't find anything. Their grandparents can't remember anything. Yes? So that's what they did. And the people who managed to escape, like, for example, I've got somebody who added me on from Turkey, yeah, for free books. And then she turned around and said her grandmother's family came from, Germany. And it's just her grandparents' family. So that means they must have come in the 1920s. And they went from there. So what were they running from? And then she said, no, they were already Muslim. And then if people are going to talk about the Jews, now Hitler was an actor for the world order. Now, what exactly happened to the Jews in Germany? Now, most people don't know is that today they're telling us that the Jews in Germany was same like the Jewish people that are here today in Israel, America, and those places. Let me tell you a different story. The children were separated from the parents. Inside the synagogues, it was not the same like synagogues if you go to visit the synagogue in Hungary that's next door, or in Czech Republic. I'm not sure if there's a synagogue in Vienna, but if you go to them, those synagogues today have got Hebrew Torahs. The Hebrew language wasn't established then. They created it with the nationalists in the 19th century. They had the Quran in these synagogues in Germany. That's strange. They've got the Quran in Yiddish. That is so strange. It's genuinely strange that even I can't explain it. Yes, that what's going on. But anyway, the thing is, they were the last group of people. Yeah, I don't even call them Jews. I'm not sure what they should be called, because they had a mixture of people who were that you could call Muslims, because Hitler's armies turned around and said, we don't know who they are because they're all circumcised, and many of them were Christians who were circumcised. So I think it was the last group of people who were the followers of Moses, or last genuine Jewish people and genuine European Germanic Muslims who were left in Northern Europe. So they got dealt with. Yeah, World War II was the final thing. And what do you call it? These Jewish organizations in America and everywhere else, yeah, they were helping, but some people say that the borders of America were closed, so they didn't do enough. Yeah, and then when many of the children who survived were taken to Israel after World War II, they were taught the new language, Hebrew, blah blah blah, and they won't even remember that the Quran was in their institutions. Yes, so it's actually something else. History is actually something else. But bad things did happen. This is not a Jewish conspiracy, believe me. Yes, even the Quran says this is not a Jewish conspiracy, but the translations say the word, it's the Jews. So that means the world order is organizing the translations of the Quran, because it takes me a long time, but I go through it word for word. It says the world order, it calls them something else in Arabic. And then it mentions the Jews as the children of Israel, two separate groups. So it's not the Jews at all. Yeah, it's not the Jewish people at all. It's like the Rothschilds don't exist. That's in my book, Transvestigation. You can go and check it out. And anybody who checks it will think it's a fraud. They don't exist. They've created these things because they want you to think it's a Jewish conspiracy. It's a Chinese conspiracy. It's a Jesuit conspiracy. It's a Catholic conspiracy to confuse you. It's a Muslim conspiracy, all these immigrants. No. It's a conspiracy. Can't you see all the adverts? I've got these black people there now. Yeah, they want everybody to integrate. It's against the white people. It's bigger than what people can imagine. Yes, this is something else. It's like if you have a look at China, it's like I've just given out my book in China. Many people are thinking, what the hell? We never imagined there was no Chinese people there. It's unimaginable. This history, nobody even knows it. It's unimaginable. And then you think, what? They were doing the same thing over there, like in Europe, changing the books, introducing new languages, building the train lines like in America, sending people to school, teaching, building all these monuments, fake monuments and everything, and saying, hey, this is ancient, or this was your ancestors, etc. And then the original population, they got suppressed, and the original language was removed. It's just unimaginable. And then, check this out. The Jesuits go to Japan in the 16th, 17th century. But the Jesuit charter is they want to convert Muslims. They want to see the end of Islam. That is the purpose of the Jesuits at that time. Yeah. Now, the strangest thing is, what the hell are they doing going to Japan? And then when they came back from Japan, yeah, they published in Europe who they saw there. The leader of Japan, yeah, or the emperor. The emperor of Japan looks like a Russian sultan. That's strange. Yeah. So it's strange. I'm saying the word sultan because he's got a turban, because now in Europe, we've been given the imagination that turbans are worn in the Middle East. But now let me tell you the reality of turbans. It's because I've traveled in many places. Now, when you travel in warm countries, if you're going to be wearing a big turban, your head is going to boil. Yes. Now, some Arabs wear it because they think it's tradition. They've been brainwashed. But the main thing is, in Northern Europe, where it's cold, Scandinavia, or in Japan, where it's cold in Northern Japan, or in Beijing, where it's cold, you will naturally wear big turbans for the heat. Because when I was in Mongolia and in Eastern Russia, where it's very cold, and in Northern China, I'm wearing these extra woolen hats, 3 or 4 of them. So then I realized, damn, they were wearing the turbans. So the turbans and the sultans were in the north. Yes. So it's like the art doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense. But, well, anyway, there's too much information. I hope you're recording this because I've said a lot. Are you recording it? Yeah. Yeah. Well, you modify it and do it how you want to. You know, it's up to you. But the main thing is, you know, there's a lot of information out there. Now, another thing about the information is this: a lot of information is there, but people are basing a lot of this information. They're saying this is in the ancient Sanskrit documents. Now, I think it's in a book called The Renaissance. I'm not sure if it's that one that I wrote, where it gives a guideline of showing almost every single Indian manuscript was collected by the Portuguese, the Spanish, the British, the French, the authorities. You know, these Catholic and other authorities were in India. So everybody who's going to talk about history refers to these documents, and they're going to say, hey, we've seen in these old, you know, Hittite things, discoveries that they have found, or these manuscripts that they have found, that they have verified. People go back to the same manuscripts that these people created and that they found. That is the problem. Now, the moment people stop doing that, people will wake up. Or the moment people realize and say, hey, we've got these Hindu Vedas here. Yeah, who found them? Oh, the British and the Jesuits. Yeah, where did they find them? Oh, they found about 10,000 copies of them. Mysteriously, all the Indians handed over all their manuscripts, that the Indians don't even have a single one left, that they sold all their manuscripts to these Europeans. Oh, and then when the Indians sold the manuscripts, they said, this is thousands of years old, but we can't read it anymore. We've forgotten the language. And then mysteriously, it was the European archaeologists who said, we've just found a monument here that has got Greek writing on, translated from Sanskrit to Greek. So now, wow, amazingly, in the 19th century, we can translate Sanskrit now at last, because we found these monuments. Oh, but then ancient Greece, the 2 biggest cities of this is the biggest scam, Athens and Ephesus. Now in book 9, it's called Flat Earth. In there, I've put Athens and Ephesus, photographs of Athens and Ephesus from around the 1900s. There's nobody at all in Ephesus. There's no ancient monuments, no buildings. There's no Roman theatres or anything there. Today, if you go to Ephesus, there's a big theatre there for 25,000 people. There's the old Celsus Library that had all the Christian New Testament Greek documents there. But the city didn't exist. We can't find any buildings. And then I put the construction photos there, that they're building everything, and you could see the drilling holes, you know, in the 1920s and 30s, that they're actually building the place, and the railway line bringing the blocks. Yeah. So, and St. Paul was in Ephesus, and the guy who wrote Revelation was in Ephesus, and he wrote it in Greek. Oh no, Greek's a dead language for 2,000 years. Well, we've just found these manuscripts 2,000 years old that were written in this city. But this city, there was nobody there. It didn't exist. We can't even find anything there. And we found photographs, yeah, that it's difficult to find them. I found them because what I did was I went to Turkey, and some people said, hey, have a look at this. They've reconstructed it. I thought, reconstructed? So then I had a look at the photographs, and some of these Turkish students, yeah, they were turning around and they didn't realize. And I said, how do they know what the original looks like? I said, how do you know that there was a Roman theatre here? I said, can't you see there is no Roman theatre there? Then some of them started thinking. Oh, another scam is I went to Indonesia. There's a place, I've forgotten where it is, Yogyakarta. Is it Yogyakarta? Yes, Yogyakarta has got an ancient monument there that's amazing, like Angkor Wat. What is it called? I've forgotten the name, but it's just as big. It's so amazing. Yeah. Now, when I went there, I met some local people, yeah, and they can remember their grandparents are saying, oh, this place isn't thousands of years old. They made it look old. And I said, they? Who are they? And they said, oh, the Empire people who came from Dutch, Holland, and all these other places. They actually said that, and I've actually got it on video. They're actually telling me, and I thought, what the hell? Yeah, they're actually telling me, and I'm thinking, hey, they can remember. Not just that, but if anybody who goes to Egypt today, now many people go to Egypt to see the pyramids and other places. Yeah, the pyramids are outside the city of Cairo. It's like you got to take a taxi. If you take a taxi, it takes up to half an hour, a bus up to an hour. But the thing is, many people don't talk to the locals around that area. If you speak to the locals can still remember that their grandparents told them they were built recently and everything else. Yes. Yes. That's why the Middle Eastern people, they don't even respect these monuments. They can even remember. But now there's new generations that want to go to, you're in Austria, so you should know, who want to go to universities, graduate, come to Western European universities and emigrate here. Yes, because, it's poor over there. Because the world order has made sure it's poor over there. They've made sure that they can't trade, that their currency, they say, oh no, we won't let them have value for anything. We won't let them, we won't share the technology. Because after they destroyed the old world, they took the technology away. And they're bringing it out slowly now. It's not discoveries. There is no such thing as discoveries. They're bringing it all out slowly now. Yes. And the thing is, yeah, the people who they're going to leave last, yeah, is of course going to be these people who've got the Quran until that book is gone. Yeah. Until that book is gone. It's because there is nobody else who's opposing it. Remember, in the 1960s, everybody said in America, there were millions of people protesting, saying, we've got to have a revolution in America. We've got to get rid of the government, everything, because of the war in Vietnam. There were millions of people marching against the war in Iraq and Europe. Where are these people today? In America, there were millions of people rioting because of September the 11th, saying, we know it's a scam. You're lying. The movement died. But the followers of the Quran is not dying. There's something about that book. It's because that book has all these topics in together. It says, don't eat these foods. They're putting all these chemicals and they might put blood in, check it. That's why the Muslims, who are born in Europe now, because then a lot of them are not checking the Quran. But when their parents came here and grandparents, everyone said, oh, look at them, they're backwards. They're not going to eat our food. Yeah, it's because they knew from the Quran that half the chemicals that are being put in the food include dead blood from human beings. Yes. Unfortunately, I put that in one of my books, book number 5 or 6. Yeah. We don't know how people get cancer when they're age 60. We don't know how they get these kidney problems. Or by the way, if you go to any villages, let's say in the Balkans, because they've only just got a bit more modern now, you've got Slovenia next door. People will tell you, hey, our grandparents could work for hours in the village and they were stronger physically, even when they were 60 or 70. But in Europe, we get weak very fast. Why? Why? We get tired. We can't do hard work. What is wrong? Something is wrong with the food here. Something is wrong with the vaccines. There is something wrong. But no one's going to speak about it. But the Quran is. The Quran has got all these issues in one place. It says, hey, when these people say something, like when the coronavirus came out, places like Morocco Turkey, people are walking around, they don't care. Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, they didn't care. Half of Russia's Muslim, they didn't care. So it's because they say, because they've got the information that it says in their book, do not accept anything until you've verified it. Yeah, and don't believe what these people who've lied and created these lies, wherever they are, like Europe and America, that they've set up these organizations in these states. Don't believe them. So that's why that book has that advantage. Now, the Quran book is not a religious book, actually, it's a political book. Yeah, in the religious sense, all it says is there is a God. And it says, believe that you're going to meet God after you die. It doesn't say that you know. Yes. Now, everything else that's in Islam, half the stuff's been made up. What are they doing in mosques? Yeah, like I told you, they're repeating the history that's in the Quran. Now, for example, everybody speaks about the Gog and the Magog and Alexander the Great, and that he built a wall so that the Gog and the Magog cannot come to the rest of the world. Many people think that story is in the Bible. No, it's not. That story is in the Quran. Why was that story so big in Europe? Until after the 1930s, 40s, 50s, and 60s, in the last 100 years, because they've been giving people more secular education, more alcohol, more drugs, more divorce, more abortions, more media, brainwashing, everything else, people have forgotten, or people's grandparents can remember, the story of Alexander the Great and Gog the Magog is very big, and that he built a wall to separate those people. That story is in the Quran. The story of Attila the Hun, or King Arthur, they call him in England. That story is in the Quran. How have historians written about Attila the Hun? A barbarian. Yes. So King Arthur in Europe, they've written Attila the Hun is a barbarian. But in Scandinavia, they call him Thor. In England, they call him King Arthur. Yeah. That story is in the Quran. How can people in England have this traditional story in England, America, Australia, and Canada? Yes. Unless if they already had the Quran here before. There's so many stories in the Quran that are not to be found anywhere else, that historians say, no, it's a fairy tale. It's something fake that your great-grandparents told you in villages before you came in the cities. Or what about the Christmas tree? That's in my book. Now, this is the biggest scam. The Christmas tree is not in any Latin book or mentioned anywhere. That the historians are going to say it's pagan, it's from these strange European gods that people had with shamanism and all this rubbish. The Christmas tree is from the Quran. Yes, it's unbelievable. It says Christ was born beside a tree, and that tree had sweets on it. What type of sweets? Dates. Yeah, and it says his mother was eating them, and the child was born beside a tree, not in a manger. So the Catholic Church and Christianity, Orthodox, they all say Christ was born in a manger. But everybody in Europe, they can still remember, no matter what, even after all these inquisitions and the lies in history, people preserve the tradition. Christ was born beside a tree, and there's chocolates and sweets, people put them on the tree. Yeah, with Christmas crackers. Now it's become more commercialized. But that story came from the Quran. It's mysterious. And the Christmas tree is global. Yeah, it's in other places that we can't understand why it's in Japan, or why it's in China, or why it's in in African nations or other things. So it means that the Arabic language in the Quran, must have been something big. Fomenko himself says it, and Fomenko's confirmed the timeline. So that's why that book is a threat. It's a threat, and that book actually mentions one God and nothing else. And it challenges you, and it says this. It says, hey, you are going to die. Yes, you're looking for the truth. You're looking for history. Yes, but the thing is, have you ever thought the sun is moving? You can see it's moving. Yeah, all right, based on flat Earth or round Earth, but it's moving, whichever way you want to see it. And the moon is moving. And scientists tell you, oh no, this is natural. It's a force. It just moves around forever. The Quran asks you and says, who is it that's making them move? Who is the one that put that force there? That's when we know there is a God. That is when even I as an intellectual will have to say, yes, the moon is moving because there's a force there. and whoever created that force is God. Now, that is the definition of God in the Quran. Now, the Bible doesn't have a definition of God because they're Latin books that they fabricated. The original angel book, contrary to what people say, they say that the Quran wants to convert people. No, it doesn't. This is what the Quran says. The Quran tells people, if you find the book of Christ, follow it. If you find the book of Moses, follow it. If you find the book of King David, follow it. Yes, that's what it says. It doesn't say you have to follow the Quran because people prefer different things. The Quran is not fixed, but modern Islam has fixed it because those books were written by the Jesuits when the British and the French were in Cairo, and they put these books there. Oh, by the way, you can check the printing records. After the printing press was made, the British and the French took printing machines to Baghdad. They took printing machines there. After they took printing machines there, that family today owns the electricity company in Hong Kong, by the way. But their great-great-great-grandfather, yes, was the manager of the printing press there. And they printed books about Islam. And these books, they sent them east of Baghdad. They sent one type of book, and those books became Shiite books. That's why everybody east from Baghdad is now a Shiite. Then they sent Sunni books in the Arabic language west. That's why in Syria and Egypt, they're all Sunni. Then they sent another thing. There's a third group that people don't know called Wahhabi or Wabi. And these books, they sent them south. So, and that's Saudi Arabia type of Muslim. So then you've got these three groups. But the Turks wanted their own nationalism. So that's why the Turks closed the borders. And because they changed the alphabet and the language, these Arabic books couldn't influence them. Yeah, and the Western colonialists, they tried to bring French into Morocco, French into Algeria, French into Tunisia, English into Egypt. They couldn't because the deserts were uncontrollable. Even their armies couldn't handle it. It was too hard for them. So they failed. Yes, but that's what they wanted to do originally. So now they're still trying. Yeah, in the next 100 years, yeah, you know, now these modern Muslims, they no longer read the Quran. So they no longer know that that's the plan. So they're going to be asleep soon. Yeah, that the way it's going, unless if the people in Europe wake up or somewhere else or in America, then the way it's going, yeah, there's going to be total domination by this world order. Total domination, no chance. I don't think there's any chance. Right. Now, the thing is, the only way is if people know. Now, for example, I've mentioned the Quran. Now, people think the Quran is a book that's asking you to convert. No, it's not. The Quran talks about everything and says that God created the bad people. It says God gave them power and put them in these positions because God has created this game. It says this in the Quran. And it says that this war has been there since day one. So every person who's living through this life, it's the challenge to see if you're going to do the good things. What are you going to choose? What choice are you going to decide? Every day we wake up, we've got the choice. What are we going to eat? What are we going to decide? What advice am I going to give to this friend? He's got problems. What am I going to do? So that's what life is about. It's choices. And then when we die, we're going to get, this is what the Quran says, we're going to get judged on those choices. And it turns around and says that God is not a monster. God is very nice. Yes? So it's not that bad. Yeah? So life is a challenge. Yes? Now, yes. And then the thing is, when you, Satan, the perfect example is this. There's the story of Cain and Abel. That's in the Old Testament and in the Quran and in the Torah. Now, the story of Cain and Abel, Satan influences one brother and then one brother kills the other. So Satan is not going to kill anybody. What he's going to do is that he's going to make people make the wrong choices. So when the Inquisition happened, it was humans that were killing humans. So those humans that did it, yes, that was their choice. So when they die, they're going to get judged. Yes. And then people say, hey, how do we know that they're going to get judged? Now, the Quran challenges you and it says this. It says, can't you see the sun and the moon are moving? Yes. Are you the one who is moving it with these forces? It says, can't you see? Are you blind? And it says, God says he put them there, and he's put these forces there, and he created you, and he's given you all these wonderful things. And he said, make the right choices. Life is beautiful and it's an adventure. So yeah, it's a great thing. So it doesn't matter whatever the world order does. It doesn't matter even if they get, even the most dangerous can't do anything to anybody. Yes, if they've got, in your body, your brain controls your body. And some people will say, David's talking rubbish here. No, I'll give you an example. In India, for example, there are people who can walk on fire, on stones that have got fire on them. Yes. Now, why don't they burn? It's because their brain is controlling their body. Yes. Now, this is what it says in the Quran. It doesn't matter what they do to you, as long as you believe, it's not going to work. So even if there is poison, it's not going to affect you. It's because your brain controls your immune system. Even poison can't do anything to anybody. Even doctors have proven this, that poison has been proven, that people have injected poison. There's people who've done this, yeah, because their brain can control their immune system, and nothing, poison doesn't do anything. Yes, because it doesn't get into their bloodstream or affect their body. It's because their brain does it. So in the Quran, it tells you that's what belief is. Yeah. So it doesn't matter if they bring these digital currencies and everything. People can still be happy. You understand? Yeah. So the thing is, there's nothing to fear. Actually, in the Quran, it says anybody who believes, yes, yeah, they've got nothing to fear. Even when they die, they've got nothing to fear the day after they die. Yeah, it's because you've done good things. Why should you fear? Yeah, in the same way that you were born when you came here, God brought you as a baby. You didn't feel you were coming here. You had nothing to fear. Yes. Anyway, I'll leave it there. And if you want to put more things in the interview, give me a call another day, because I'm feeling thirsty. Yeah. Anyway, yeah. Now it looks like I'm supporting Islam or the Quran. Now, if somebody, like I said to you before, if you ask me, is that book from God? I don't know. Was I there? No. Am I going to confirm it came from God? No. I don't have that right. It's wrong for me to say something came from God if I don't know and I wasn't there. Does this book speak against the world order? Yes. Yes. Does this book mention a one God? Yes. Does this book glorify Muhammad? No. Does this book glorify any humans? No. Does this book say that Muhammad is greater than Moses or anything like this? No. So that's why, from a point of view of monotheism, or from God and one God, this book mentions God, and then it gives you an answer into life. And it says, don't worry, don't panic. Yeah. And then it tells you about the world order. Now, there is nowhere else, nothing else does that. Now, if that is a religious book, it's a threat to the world order, because it's strange that children are reading from a young age saying, watch out, they're lying in science, they're lying in physics, they're lying in mathematics, they're liars, check everything. Of course, the education system is going to want to kill that. Of course, Macron is going to be saying, hey, let's shut down these Islamic schools. We can't have them. Oh no, they're trying to have a separate state here. Not a separate state. They just don't believe you. They don't believe Macron. I mean, they don't believe you. They know you're a bunch of liars. They know you're teaching lies. That's why they've got to go. That's why in Germany they're going to say, we're not doing it fast enough. We've got to integrate these people, integrate them into the system. In other words, they've got to accept the education system. They've got to accept that this is history, this is science, and this is a fact. They've got to accept the theory of evolution, the theory that you are a monkey. You're a monkey. Yo, you're a monkey. What is it? It's just ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And that's why Islam is a threat, because Islam is saying, no, you're not a monkey. It's clearly saying that. Now, that's why Judaism was originally a threat. They practically killed it. Christianity, they've done even worse. We can't even find the original book of Christ. But the Quran actually says the original book of Christ is from God. It actually says that. Now, the thing is, I can't find that book. I wish I could find it. I wish I could find it. You know, it's because I don't know where it is, but the entire New Testament in Greek, yeah, there was no city called Athens or Ephesus. We can't find it even older than 200 years. So I got a problem. I can't find the ancient Greek language. It was created, the Greek language has been used since the Greek nationalists. And the Greek language has got the same shapes as, they call it Phoenician, but Phoenician is exactly the same shapes as Arabic anyway. And then Cyrillic or Cyrillic for, you know, these Eastern European languages, like Russian, came from Greek. Yeah, so then it makes me turn around and think, damn, I can't find the book of Christ. And then you've got St. Paul, who's walking around Ephesus, and the city doesn't exist, and they've just built it. It's just ridiculous. So I've got a problem. Or Christ is important to me. Yes, there is a serious question that many people are asking. The virgin birth is impossible. Yes, but that's the thing, that religious people say that it was a miracle. Now, if somebody is going to ask me about that miracle, I can't prove that. I can't confirm that. So I'm not going to say, yes, it's true. No, that is a belief. That is a belief. If you want to believe that God couldn't create anything, you can believe that because God already created you. God already created everything else. So God can. Yes. So that's that. Yeah. So I'm willing to accept that. Now, a main thing that the Catholic Church created, this is a big joke by the Catholic Church. Yes. I find this so funny sometimes. Well, it's not funny for the people who suffered, but it's a big joke. They turn around and knew that Satan is a ghost, or that's how he's described. Yes, he's described as a ghost, or jinn in Arabic, or a ghost in many other civilizations. Yes. So now Satan's a joke. So they turn around and said, God is a holy ghost. Satan's a ghost, but God's a ghost also. But God is the holy one. Oh God, it's just a joke. Yeah, and it's just ridiculous what these people have done. Now, if the world follows these people, it's their fault. It's just ridiculous. It's their fault. Anyway, I'm going to go because I'm genuinely thirsty now. Yeah, we'll talk some other time. What is Odyssey? Oh, right. Right. Some other people mentioned that too. The truth is, I don't know what it is. Make it yourself and post it. Do it yourself and post it. You've got my permission. Right. What to do is just give out the books free. That's what to do. Yeah, publish them. Do anything. I don't mind, because for the truth, there is no price on the truth. It's like, yeah, it's like if I said there is no God, I'm a liar. I'm lying. Yes. It's like if I said God didn't, because we know there is a creator. Yeah, nothing happens by accident. And the thing is, I know people are dying for the truth. And the thing is, in my last book, book 10, I've written down how they've been making money out of the truth. So it's going to be wrong, yeah, that I'm going to be profiting from it. So that, and I know how much people are dying, because there's many people, yeah, who are just asking me for books. And I'm thinking, oh my God, why are they chasing me? You know, I'm thinking, but then I realize and I think, damn, it's because people are desperate. They want to know. People are so desperate. They can't sleep. They want to know, who am I? Where am I from? Where am I going when I die? This is so important. It's desperation. So that's why I'm, you know, give them out free. And of course, yes, I'm not God. So maybe there could be translation errors or even mistakes in my books. My books are available in 20 languages, by the way. Yeah, so you know, publish them in German. They're in you know, Serbo-Croatian, Polish, Czech language, Hungarian, Romanian, French. They're in many languages. Greek, Estonian. The thing is, you know, Hungary, yeah, is one place that they proper dealt with. Now, let me tell you why they put communism in Eastern Europe. What happened is they attacked Western Europe first. Eastern Europe was a bit more difficult to handle. There was the Balkans, yeah, And there was the Balkans, and there was a greater presence of people who still accepted the Quran, and not just the Quran. There is another thing. Like, for example, if you study the story of King Arthur, they're going to say, oh no, it's a fairy tale, Christmas tree, it's a fairy tale. And the Quran says that God sent another religious document like the Torah and the angel, the New Testament book of Christ. And this book in the Quran is called the Sabr. Now, in Eastern Europe, yeah, in Eastern Europe, the book named the Sabr was actually used by the village people, that they used it as their law and their beliefs in God up until the 1920s. It was difficult to control Eastern Europe because there's more land. Yes, Central and Western Europe is small land per square kilometers. Eastern Europe and all of Russia. So they thought, let's just let the communists deal with it. Yeah, turn the place into shit, keep it economically backwards. Let's totally brainwash the West, then move on to the East. Now, the same thing in China. What they did was they set up the system, and then they closed China around 1948. They closed it, pretended excuse, the communists, blah, blah, blah. So then when China was ready, it was called the reopening in the 80s and 90s. So it's like one thing at a time. So after China, they're going to say, oh no, India is booming, blah, blah, blah. And they're going to be saying all this. It's because India's the next target. It's one by one. It's because they've got 100, 200 years to go before they have total domination. Let me tell you, because of the stereotype, let me tell you why there was the stories saying that the Jews had pointed noses and all this rubbish going around Nazi Germany. Yeah, those stories, I'll tell you what happened. Yes, what happened is there was two-way migration. Many people from the north ran down to the south. And that's why there was a group of people that are known as the Dutch or the Deutsch, and that's why they're called Turce. They went to the Balkans. But the city of Salonika, nobody has a look at it, was full of mosques. Yes, so that means it must have had modern Islam because of the design of the mosques with the brainwashing of the world order system. But those people, after the city got dealt with, the world order dealt with it, it just looks like Chicago after the Great Fire. Yeah, many of those people migrated north, and then they went to Austria and to Germany. By that time, they thought things are safer and they're better now. So because they came from the Balkans and they looked like you, yes. So what happened? They turned around and said, these people have got dark hair and they've got these nose shapes and everything and hunchbacks. And because they were dressed still in the style where the women were covering their hair, which is what every woman in Europe used to do, and other things, and they were wearing long dresses, yeah? So they turn around and call them Jews, yeah? And the word Jew, there was no letter J until the Jesuits and the Scaliger and the Catholic Church introduced the letter J in many manuscripts. Or it used to be called Jewish or Yahwish, after Yahweh or Jehovah, yes? Jehovah. So these people were following that religion. So what they did was they modified that religion into modern Judaism. That's where we've got modern Judaism. Don't think the world order left anybody. Now the thing is, the main group that they haven't got is this book called the Quran, because those people miraculously did something. They started memorizing the entire book, and there was millions of them. So that's why that book survived. Yes, or we cannot find the book of Moses, the book of Christ. Now, the book of King David was known as the Sabr. Yes, now the strange thing is, it's mentioned in the Quran. But if you look it up in Wikipedia, they're going to say the Muslims mention it. There's no evidence of its existence ever in history. But the Sabr was used, yes, even in Hungary and Eastern Europe, yes, in large parts of Eastern Europe until, World War I around that time. It was actually the law, legal system, and many other things. Yeah. And so the people had one God. And the Quran says, if you have that book, follow it. It says it was a message from God. So actually, Islam is not what people think it is. Modern Islam is where they've got it into people's head. They've made many young Muslims follow new books that say you must convert the world. But the Quran doesn't say that. The Quran actually says, if they want to, tell them to follow this book, the book of Christ or the book of Moses. But now we've got a problem. We don't have any of these books anymore. We actually don't. Yeah, the Old Testament is in Hebrew, but they turn around and say, oh no, the Jews were speaking Arabic until the 18th century. And then the Old Arabic disappeared in Germany, and then it became called German or Yiddish and all these, Middle German, etc. Yeah, as they were changing it slowly. When they brought people into the cities, it's called urbanization. I've written about that in book 4 called Hitler, the urbanization of Germany. That happened in all these countries in Europe. Yeah, the urbanization process, and then people learned this new modern German. So the thing is, yeah, it happened to them. We don't know where the book is. So if I knew that the book of Moses was still here, then I will tell people, hey, use that book as a guideline. Yes. Now, the thing is, people are not going to remember my conversation. Anybody who's got children or grandchildren, 50 years or 100 years later, their descendants are not going to remember what we're talking about. But that book called the Quran is still going to be here. It's because it's got 25% of the world behind it. Even if the Muslims, half of them are following new books, or many of them have become secular, because there's a huge amount of them, there's a bit of a guarantee, almost guaranteed they'll still be here in 100 years. Yes, and that message is still going to be here, where it's going to say, hey, don't believe this. Have a look. It's a lie. It's a fake. It's a forgery. You understand? Or nobody else is going to say it. So based on that, I'm going to tell people and advise people, take a look at this book. Based on that. Now, if it's a question of God, it's their choice. If they want to believe that they've always existed, nobody created them, that's their choice. But me personally, I believe in a God. I don't think that the force that moves the moon has been there by accident. I don't believe that. I can see that the moon is moving. Whether it's a solid mass or not is a different subject. Yes, but it is moving. Yeah. And the thing is, the force that's making it move around, yes, exists. And that force obviously is a powerful force. And I believe that that force is controlled and created by God. So that's me personally. Yeah. Now the Quran, is it from God? I can't confirm it. Yeah. Now it's up to you if you want to believe. Yes. Belief is a different matter. Now that's what it says in the Quran. The Quran does not say that you know. It says you believe. It says believe. That's something else. Yeah. So it actually says, it doesn't say that, hey, you know. It says you don't know what is not seen. It's unseen. So you don't know it. It says you believe. Nobody has died to come back. Who's alive right now, I mean. Yeah. So we don't know. So that's why it says it's the unseen within the Quran itself as well. Anyway, I'm going to go. I'll leave it to you there. And I've probably shocked you today with a lot of information. I probably have because, yes? Yes. So you're probably not shocked. I actually don't know. Yeah, maybe you're not. Yeah. Yeah, you take care and have a great evening.